Hello and welcome to the She Reads Romance Books podcast, the ultimate show for romance book lovers looking for the best books worth reading. I'm your host, Leslie Murphy, and in each short episode, I share my favorite book list of recommendations so you know exactly what to add to your must-read list. Join me as I explore the romance genre and have fun collecting book boyfriends along the way, because life is better with a love story. Hello, readers. So who is ready to stuff their TBR list today? Because I'm just warning you, if you thought it was already overflowing, well, it's just going to get a bit bigger and longer after this episode. I just laughed so hard when Isabel said on Facebook, on my page on Facebook, that she was afraid to look at one of my latest book lists because she always ends up adding more books. So yes, I hear you, Isabel, but that comment actually made my day because I love that I am helping you and other romance readers find amazing books to read. And a really long TBR list actually isn't a bad thing because I'm sure it's filled with a variety of books, so you have options to pick based on your mood when you're ready for a new book, and I just love that about the romance genre. There's something for every mood I'm in, and the new romance books releasing next month in July that I'm most looking forward to and that are already on my TBR list have a little bit of everything in terms of romance tropes. This list, though, is pretty much all contemporary romance books, actually, but that's going to change in the coming months, that's for sure, as I look at what's coming down the pike. But let's get to it, shall we? In today's episode, I'm sharing my top 10 most anticipated new romance book releases for July 2024. So get out your journal or your paper or however you keep your TBR list because I've got 10 titles for you to add to it today. The first new romance book release that I'm so excited to read is by a new author to me, and that is The Love of My Afterlife by Christy Greenwood, which releases July 2nd. And here is what it is about. Delphi can't believe that she's found herself in the afterlife after choking on a microwavable burger, standing in a nightie in front of the hottest man she's ever seen. They start to chat until someone comes running out of a door yelling something about a huge mistake and sends the dreamy stranger back down to Earth. When Delphi is offered a deal in which she can return to Earth and reconnect with the mysterious man, she jumps at the opportunity to find her possible soulmate and a fresh start. But in a city of millions, Delphi is going to have to listen to her heart, learn to ask for help, and perhaps even see the magic in the life she's leaving behind. So this is one of those new releases that just jumped out at me and had me at finding a hottie in the afterlife. Not to gloss over the fact that she choked on a microwavable burger. That is so not the way that I would want to go. But I love how she meets this hottie at the pearly gates and gets a second chance at life to go and find him. I've never read Greenwood before, but sometimes all it takes is a unique hook to get me to add a book to my TBR list, and that's exactly what this one has. I cannot wait to dive into my advanced reader copy, and I really hope that it meets my expectations this month. The next new romance book release I want to check out in July is by a writing duo I've actually yet to read, which is kind of crazy, but this might be the month that I finally dive into one of their books, and that's with their new release called Dishonestly Yours by Christy and Becca Ritchie. This is a best friend's brother romance, which also releases July 2nd, and here is what it is about. The Graves and her best friend Haley's family have been on the run their whole lives, but after a high-stakes con job goes south, Phoebe Graves and Haley decide to run away and start over. Only Haley's frustratingly handsome brother Rocky insists on coming with them. Phoebe worries that Rocky will tempt them back into their old ways, when all she really wants is to have a good reputation and a normal life with the man she loves. So I'm on a kick with the best friend's brother trope after reading This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. So I'm ready for another one, I think. And the Ritchies, they're well known for their Addicted series, which I honestly can't believe I haven't read yet, but I will just have to read it after this book. which I guess kicks off a brand new series from the sister authors. I'm super curious to see how easily lying is for Rocky and if he can easily lie about his feelings for Phoebe. I also wouldn't really be opposed to see them pull a con job or two, whether it be a flashback or something in the present given Rocky's tempting ways. So that should be pretty fun to see in this new release coming out in July. Now, since I declared that one of my reading goals for 2024 was to read more in romantic suspense, I have added Unwanted by Mia Sheraton to my TBR list for this month, which is actually a re-release dropping July 9th, and here is what it's about. When wilderness guide Harper Ward is summoned to the small-town sheriff's office in Helena Springs, Montana, to provide assistance on a case, she is shocked to find that their only suspect in the double investigation is a man described as a savage. But the longer she watches the man known only as Lucas on the station's surveillance camera, the more intrigued she becomes. He certainly looks primitive with his unkempt appearance and animal skin attire, but she also sees intelligence in his eyes, sensitivity in his expression. Who is he, and how is it possible that he's lived alone in the forest since he was a small child? As secrets begin to emerge, Harper is thrust into something bigger and more diabolical than she could ever have imagined. And standing right at the center of it all is Lucas. But is he truly the wild man he appears to be, a cold-blooded killer, an innocent victim, or a perplexing mix of all three? Harper must find out the answers to these questions because the more time she spends with him, the more she risks losing her heart. So as I mentioned, this new romance book is actually a re-release for Sheridan. It was originally released under the title Savage, so maybe you've already read it by that name. I'm not really sure, but I'm assuming it has gone through some edits and it definitely has received a new look to be re-released this month. And I'm just really intrigued by it. I really want to know Lucas's story and how Harper struggles with her growing feelings for the guy who is a suspect of something pretty brutal. I want intrigue, attraction, spice, and oh my god moments with this one, so here's hoping that it also delivers this month. The next new romance book release I cannot wait to read in July is The Game Changer by Lana Ferguson, which is her new fake relationship brother's best friend romance releasing on July 9th, and here is what it is about. With his career in the team's image in jeopardy, hockey star Ian Chase is surprised to find a solution through none other than Delilah Baker, his best friend and teammate's little sister. Delilah's numbers are down on her local cable baking show, so she offers to collaborate with her brother's team to entice the hockey fans of Boston to tune into her show and boost Ian's image. When viewers loving the two of them together, Ian and Delilah play up their relationship, but when the line between what's real and what's for show begins to blur, one thing's for certain: this PR stunt will either be a total game changer or leave them both totally pucked. That's super cute. I never tire of romance books where a professional athlete has to improve his image, and I like the brother's best friend angle to this new romance from Ferguson too. She has totally been hyping up the steaminess of this book on Instagram, and I'm so down for it. So I think I'm really going to like Ian. You know, I also have a soft spot for hockey romances, so it's pretty much, or was pretty much, an instant add to my TBR list once I heard that part. And I have to say that I love her book covers too. Gosh, is anybody just, I don't know. I've been starting to really look at book covers a lot, and this whole trend toward graphic covers is certainly growing on me, and I just love her designs the most, and this one is just super cute. So I am adding The Game Changer to my TBR list for this month. The next new romance book I cannot wait to read is another sports romance, but this one is a baseball romance, and I have been waiting and waiting for this book since it made my list of most anticipated new romance books of 2024, which I put together at the end of 2023, so it's been a long time. And actually, when I put it on that list, the book summary wasn't even published yet for the book, but it still made my list, and that is Play Along by Liz Tomford, which finally releases July 11th, and here is what it's about. Kennedy Kay is the only woman on staff for the Windy City Warriors, and she's desperate to land her dream job with a new team next year. But a Las Vegas run-in with the team's shortstop, Isaiah Rhodes, threatens it all, since they wake up married the next morning with no recollection of how that happened. Now they're left to pretend that they are a real couple to save Kennedy's job, but Isaiah isn't settling with just pretending. He's ready to prove he is husband material and just needs to convince his new wife to play along for the long haul. So it had been a while since I binge read an entire romance book series, but that's exactly what I did last year with Tomford's Windy City series. I loved it so much, including the third book in the series called Caught Up, which is a baseball romance and features Isaiah's older brother. But since they play on the same MLB team, you got to meet Isaiah in a bit of Kai's story, and he was just so awesome and just a fun side character in that book. Plus, I loved the way he was obsessed with the team's physical therapist, Kennedy, who was engaged until she wasn't. And now they are going to wake up married. Oh, yes, please. I cannot wait for this book for this oops marriage. Plus, if I remember from Caught Up, that Kennedy's stepbrother is another professional baseball player and Isaiah's rival and nemesis, so that is definitely going to ruffle some feathers in this new marriage. The first 3 books, I believe, in the Windy City series are still available in Kindle Unlimited, so you too can binge read this series to catch up if you need to before Play Along releases in July. You will definitely love it, and I cannot wait to finally read this book. The next book I actually already read as soon as my advanced reader copy dropped because I loved the first book in the series and just wanted to continue those good vibes. And the book is The Au Pair Affair, I could never say that word, by Tessa Bailey, which is a hockey romance, also single dad nanny romance. So a lot going on in this book that releases July 16th. And here is what it's about. When broke marine biology student Tallulah is offered a live-in nanny position for Burgess, a battle-scarred hockey veteran and newly single dad, she jumps at the opportunity. Only she didn't expect to feel sparks from the quiet older man who she tries to help get back out there on the dating scene. But the more time they spend together, the more boundaries are slowly crossed, and Burgess finds himself pulled between his daughter, who wants her parents back together, and his insane chemistry with Tallulah. So I fully admit I already fell hard for Tallulah and Burgess when I read Fangirl Down, Tessa Bailey's golf romance that dropped in February of this year, and the first in her Big Shot series. So there was really no stopping me from reading this follow-up in the series. It can absolutely be read as a standalone, however, and this is the perfect summer read for anyone who just loves a cinnamon roll hero who can also, easily take down hockey players in his day job and who would do anything for the woman that he's falling for. There is a heaviness to Tallulah's story, but Burgess is just there for her, and I adored the date that he created for her in this book. Oh my gosh, it was super sweet, and I just absolutely love this man. There really isn't too much focus, though, I will say, on the nanny piece, so I wouldn't go into it expecting your typical nanny single dad romance trope, but it's a cute read if you are a fan of Tessa Bailey, as I am. My next most anticipated new romance book release is another that I have high expectations for, since this author's debut novel made my list of best romance books of 2023 last year. So get ready for Julie Soto's next romance book, Not Another Love Song, which is a rivals to lovers romance that releases on July 16th as well. And here is what it is about. When professional and self-taught violinist Gwen Jackson plays, she disappears into the peaks and valleys of each song, a quiet passion that never quite explodes into pure emotion. Xander Thorne is the exact opposite. A cellist and a rock star. He's all about big emotion, but not even his 6'4" frame can contain his skill, his genius, and an attitude that borders on jerkitude. Not only did it take Xander a year to notice that he and Gwen both play in the Manhattan Pops, but he also always seems to have the perfect cutting criticism about her technique. When Gwen is offered the role of first chair of the orchestra, something Xander has secretly coveted for years, their existing hostility goes up a notch. Yet despite her best efforts, Gwen can't ignore the sizzling chemistry between them. Forced to work more closely with each other, they can't help exploring their attraction. As they begin to compose and play songs together, it's clear that their powerful connection could make for a performance that would blow everyone's minds. Suddenly, their box office dynamite and the fragile romance growing between them is in danger of being crushed beneath a publicity stunt. Okay, I love that the hero's name is Xander. Seems to be pretty popular these days in terms of Xander, Zayden, all these X names. But this romance just sounds beautiful to me. It's rare that I've read a romance with two musicians that weren't rock stars, and I'm really excited about it. Plus, their rivalry sounds like it can lead to some great banter and chemistry, which I think Soto did really well in Forget Me Not last year. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this book releasing this month. Another new release, actually releasing on July 16th, is The Best of All by Carla Sorensen, which is a Guardian Ward romance, and here is what it's about. A decade-old animosity is the only thing Liam Davies and Zoe Valentine have in common, until their mutual best friends pass away and they're appointed co-guardians of the trusting couple's precocious toddler, Mira. Liam is committed only to professional football. Relationship-wise, he's even better at defense. Still wrestling with a tough childhood, he's not cut out to be a father. Why his late best buddy believed in him, Liam has no idea. In Optimistic Romantic, Zoe has always dreamed of a fairy tale life. But even though Liam's biceps make her dizzy and she can't stop thinking about his lips on hers, he's not exactly Prince Charming. With or without that brooding Brit, she is determined to make good on her friend's last wish. Forced into a predicament they never expected, Zoe and Liam are discovering things about each other that could scorch through boundaries, warm hearts, and change minds. And best of all, with their shared love for a pint-sized surprise like Mira, they might just turn a house into a home. Gosh, I'm such a sucker these days for a good Guardian Ward romance, and I cannot wait to see how little Mira helps bring these two opposites together. This book actually reminds me of the rom-com Life as We Know It that stars Katherine Hagel and Josh Duhamel, who are tasked with raising their friend's little girl when they pass away. So it just sounds really, really adorable. And you don't ever have to twist my arm to read a football romance about a player reluctant to believe in love. So here is hoping Sorensen's new release is a winner this month. This will actually be my second book by Carla to read, which seems crazy that I've only read one of her books so far, but alas, here is hoping it's a good one and maybe even a tearjerker too. Another new release that I have been waiting for forever, it seems, is All Folked Up by Penny Reed, which finally releases on July 26th, and here is what it's about. Rumor has it that gruff, brooding, and solitary man of mystery Isaac Sylvester is back in town, and the only thing folks in Green Valley know for certain is that this prodigal son's motives are as elusive as he is. Hannah Townsend is no stranger to local gossip, but 10 years after being dubbed as a town's home stripper with a heart of gold, Hannah has seemingly and finally fallen off the gossip mill's radar. That is, until the enigmatic Isaac Sylvester shows up at Hannah's retirement party wanting so much more than a private dance. Oh my gosh, you guys, finally we are getting Isaac's story. Finally. Oh my gosh. I have already fallen for this mysterious man from his various cameos in Reed's Winston Brothers series, and I cannot wait to peel back his layers and understand his motivation in All Folked Up. I don't want to say what I do know about this man for fear of spoilers, but gosh, he is just so fascinating, and I want his happily ever after so badly. Plus, that fact that he's falling for the town stripper is just another reason why I need this book like right now. Thank you so much, Penny, for finally giving us Isaac's story. I cannot wait to read it this month. Lastly, another new romance book that has me so intrigued, I cannot wait to read it, and that is Five Brothers by Penelope Douglas, which is an opposites attract romance releasing July 30th. So you have to wait until the end of the month for this one, but I think it will be worth the wait. And here is what it's about. On the other side of town, in the dark glades under the rain, one woman learns the secrets of the five Yeager brothers. Macon is the oldest, 31, ex-Marine. I don't think I've ever seen him smile. Army is 28, a single dad with the most beautiful green eyes. He has no idea who he is if not a Yeager brother. Iron will be in prison soon. You'd never think it to meet him. He's a nice guy, actually, but he can't stop reacting to everything. Dallas is the one I hate, 21, cruel and selfish. He takes and then throws away whatever's left. And Trace is mine, or he was for about 2 seconds. No one can tame him for long. Not that I ever wanted to. It was fun, but now I need to go home, back to my side of the tracks, away from the swamps and these men, to my parents' big house on my clean street where I'm never dirty or messy or hot. And I will. I'll leave first thing tomorrow morning. I just want to crash on the couch tonight. Their house is dark and quiet. Everyone else is asleep, except for one. He sees me crying and comes at me from behind. I let him wrap his arms around my body and hold me tightly. His breath is on my neck and his fingers are in my hair. And he doesn't stop there. I don't think it was Trace. God, Penelope Douglas, geez, she is that go-to author for romance books that push the line, right? And make you enjoy the taboo with just this sly smile on your face. Not gonna lie, this new romance sounds so intriguing and I cannot wait to meet all of the Yeager brothers. The book summary to me, though, it's kind of a mystery in and of itself as to what really happens in this book. Like, is it a why choose romance? Is it a romantic suspense? What is going on? I'm not really sure, but you and I think we'll just have to tune in and find out on July 30th when it releases. And that is Five Brothers by Penelope Douglas. Okay, so that wraps up my book list. Is your TBR list now just overflowing? Did you add all 10 of these titles to your list? I hope so, but don't forget that all summer long, we are also playing a Passport to Romance where we are traveling all over the world with new romance books this summer. And if you fill out your passport with even just one book that you read, you can enter to win one of my A Year of Reading Romance card decks. I love this card deck just so much because it helps you explore the variety of the romance genre and really just have fun picking out the next book to read. You can grab your passport in the She Reads Romance Books book club by joining at shereadsromancebooks.com/book club. I really think you'll have fun, and it's just a new way to add some, different challenge and a little bit of, staycation exploring with your romance reading this summer. So thank you as always for tuning into today's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like the titles. And as always, happy reading because life is better with a love story. That's all for this episode of the She Reads Romance Books podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and found some new books to add to your TBR list. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review the show on your favorite podcast app. It really helps me reach more romance book lovers like you, and I appreciate your support. If you're a book boyfriend collector like me, then you'll want to join my email list so you never miss a podcast episode or a new book list. Just visit shereadsromancebooks.com/join and sign up today. As a thank you, I'll instantly send you my list of top 10 book boyfriends that will make you swoon. Trust me, you don't want to miss this list. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.